Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Stein from Planned Giving Marketing with my colleague, Greg Wilson. Greg is a frontline fundraiser at the Good Shepherd Healthcare Network in the Lehigh Valley area of Pennsylvania. And this is our third in a series of practical solutions announcements. That's our version of the PSA, and it is geared towards fundraisers, planned giving specialists, working from home, looking for new ways to navigate these uncertain times. In this week's episode, Greg and I are going to talk about prospecting to, more ordinary plan giving prospects. Over the past couple of weeks, again, speaking to lots and lots of people in your position, and they're kind of looking for new ways to reach more people. And Greg and I got to talking about it, and it prompted some ideas on Greg's side about maybe refocusing our efforts or just looking at the regular donor with maybe a little bit more optimism. So Greg, tell me what got you thinking about that, because in our last conversation, you were telling us about reaching out to people that you never reached out to before, and they themselves were kind of surprised to hear from you. But when the conversation got going, I think you felt that there may be something there that was overlooked in the past.
Yeah, I think so. I really think it's all very much dovetails in together. It's similar to you. I've been having both a little bit more time to stop and think about what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, and then just also been more intentional about connecting with colleagues in various other fundraising shops pretty much across at least the state of Pennsylvania, if not across the region right now. And it all started with a conversation about a week or so ago with a very smart individual who we were just talking about planned giving and why don't a lot of organizations focus on it. And there's always the uncertainty of, I don't know what to say. And as we really dug down and we're thinking about the size of most people's will, we realized that how many organizations would turn away and I'll call it random in air quotes there, a random $5,000 to $25,000 gift that just shows up in the mail. And I think the answer would be is nobody would turn that size gift away. Everybody would really appreciate it. And yet, as I look back through our gift records, as we're increasing who we call and who we talk to at Good Shepherd, even more so than we already do, that really struck me as what we're seeing, that we probably see on average one, and I would say anywhere as small as $3,500 gift through somebody's will or from their estate, no matter what type of asset it's coming from, but up to about a $20,000 gift. And those just come in very regularly, very frequently. I think that does a lot to provide us a nice stable base of charitables for the entire year. And for us, that's just been everyday marketing of reaching out to everybody and having those conversations with pretty much anybody that'll stop and listen and have those conversations with us about how important Good Shepherd is to them, what they think about the work that we do, and then just that conversation of, well, have you ever thought of making a gift to Good Shepherd in your will, and just leaving it at that and to continue to keep going that way.
Excellent. I don't remember who said it, but it reminds me of, I don't know if it's a quote or an axiom or whatever the case might be, but a planned gift is the major gift or the capital campaign gift of the average donor is really what it comes down to, because what you're talking about are giving levels through a bequest that are typical of what you need to be considered a major donor to get assigned a gift officer and to have that regular engagement. They're just doing it in a once-in-a-lifetime sort of way because they're just not flush with cash and they're not big check writers, but they still care deeply about the cause and the mission and their legacies. So you're talking about how you're having very natural conversations with these people who you otherwise wouldn't be talking to or marketing to under normal circumstances. And then that got us talking about, well, how do those conversations differ than the typical plan giving marketing communications? And I'll let you describe it, that are kind of designed to attract the unicorns. And you can maybe define what that means
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
It's kind of goes back to two phrases that came up during our conversation of, of trying to get your marketing to focus on horses and not on unicorns. It's horses that are go out that pull the plow. I come from a farming background, so that's where a lot of my weird sayings come from. But it's going to be a horse that pulls the plow, that does the work, that keeps the organization going. In this case, but it's the unicorns that I think we all fall prey to, going, oh my gosh, that was such a cool gift, that was such a monster gift, and that was so neat. But those happen pretty infrequently, and typically at the larger institutions that can play that 5 or 10 year sort of process to work through a donor that's going to take that long to structure that type of gift. And I think a lot of smaller organizations, that small to mid-sized nonprofit are still, no matter how much work they do, no matter how much planned giving work they do, they still need cash coming in the door. That's what keeps the program happening. That's what keeps the mission afloat. And I just think that's they look at the planned giving area as this big sort of scary thing in the sky, instead of going back to our other phrase of just drilling where that oil is, of going back to the people and focusing on individuals that love your organization, and just saying, hey, can you make a gift to XYZ in your will? Would you be open to that? Would you like to learn more, as we've talked about previously? And I just think that's an easier conversation, because again, for that small to mid-sized nonprofit, you're talking to that donor in a place of love and support, rather than in any sort of financial planning or tax situations that way.
I mean, I use the term, it's very unsexy, right? But it's effective fundraising. And for a smaller shop, or a shop just getting started, or a shop that doesn't have a dedicated plan giving officer who has a trust and estates background, this is an easy way to get the ball rolling. And so many of the people that we talk to struggle with keep either getting the ball rolling because they have these grandiose plans about very complex gift structures, and having the trust and estates attorney in place to answer the question that probably will never be asked. So that's the getting the ball rolling that they struggle with. Or if they have made a commitment, their efforts go in fits and spurts, because they're constantly looking for or distracted by that multi-million-dollar, several-year gift-making process at the expense of the regular people who would leave $25, $50, even $5,000 or $10,000 in the will if you simply ask them. I'm not suggesting that those big gifts are not transformative and important, but drill where the oil is, and maybe keep your program going, or get your program going based on those quick wins. I think, look, from a sales background, those big deals are what keep you going. They're what get you going. But it's the quick wins that put food on the table, right? And if you ignore the quick wins at the expense of the unicorns, and we've seen this happen, people are very unsatisfied in their jobs. Things don't go well for their fundraising efforts and their fundraising goals, and then they just kind of put their plan giving program to bed for a while, and then they come back and they try to start it up again the same way, kind of going after the unicorns to make up for lost time, as opposed to the slow and steady winning the race methodology that anybody in sales or fundraising or business development knows. Like, you got to get those small wins going on a regular basis while you're working those big deals that may or may not come to fruition.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up. It really is the overall unsexy work of what we do, of just finding that individual that loves the organization, having the conversation with them, and just showing them in easy ways how they can make those types of gifts. And I haven't had a chance to do any reverse engineering to ever look at what levels of people's support that they gave before they made these gifts through their will. But my guess is it's going to be that they were all our traditional direct mail donors who gave somewhere between $5 and $25 every time that a direct mail piece went out, who are now making between $5,000 and $25,000 gifts through their will or as a remainder of their IRA. And it's just easy. And it's also a very natural conversation to have. I literally had this conversation before we got together today with a donor who's been supporting Good Shepherd for about 8 years now, and just talking through everything. And she was asking some questions, and about how we're supported and how we provide care the way that we do. And I just walked her through that and said that, we're very fortunate. It's because of people like you that support us through our mail program, who read the stories and say, oh my gosh, this is what I want to support. And then who make a gift, whether it's at whatever size is comfortable for somebody, make a gift like that in their will that then comes through. That's what enables us to continue to keep our doors open and providing the care that we do.
It's a great example, and again, in these difficult times where people are looking for success or looking for good things to happen, yes, those multi-million-dollar, very, very complicated gifts might be out there, but in talking with you and in talking with a lot of other people in your position, there are a lot of people out there who you would not consider top-tier plan-giving prospects, who are human. They are considering their legacies. They're considering their own mortality. They're getting their affairs in order. And I think that all of your organizations would be thrilled to learn about those $5, $10, $25, $50,000 commitments just as much as they would be interested in those multi-million-dollar complex gift structures that everybody is kind of focused on. So again, it's not to say take the eye off the ball, ignore the high net worth donors, ignore those big opportunities, but maybe, with a new perspective, take a look at everybody else too. Tailor your marketing to be more inclusive, talk about mission, offer your gratitude, and explain to these donors that you exist today because of their long-term loyalty. And quite frankly, probably not what you want to include in your marketing, but the message that really no gift is too small. No gift is too small. And that you don't need to have a very, very sophisticated financial plan in order to make a plan gift that impacts the charity of their choosing. So, Greg, do you have anything to add, anything to wrap up here?
I think we did. Just continue to focus on the people that love you and show them ways that they can make those gifts through their will.
Excellent. Thanks, Greg. As always, there is going to be a URL at the bottom of the screen here that is going to point you to additional resources around this and other plan giving marketing topics. We welcome you to follow that link to download these materials, visit our website, get on our calendar. Again, we're having lots and lots of conversation with organizations in various stages of plan giving sophistication, and we have solutions that are designed to enable you to reach all of your donors and share an inspiring message that engages them and ultimately encourages them to act. So for everyone at Plan Giving Marketing, my colleague Greg Wilson, thank you, and look for us next week.